What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode.
Yes.
So we went to the movie theaters over the
Hmm.
weekend, and we went and saw Disclosure Day.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're gonna kind of chat about our thoughts, feelings, opinions,
Yeah.
everything,
Facts.
really.
Yeah. Disclosure Day. Obviously, it's been taking the box office by storm. It's a new Steven Spielberg movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's out in theaters now. We went and saw it, and that's
Let's
all.
talk
Yeah.
about
Let's
it.
chat about it. And there, of course, will be spoilers. So if you
Oh
haven't
yes.
seen the film, this is probably your time to check out. If you're not going to see the film and you want a little recap, then you're in the right
You're in the
place.
right spot.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it.
So yeah, let's get right into it. I mean, I don't even. How did the movie start?
Essentially, it started with us in like a not UFC, in like a some sort of
Oh, that's right. Like a cage
wrestling,
fight or like
yeah, yeah,
WWE. Yeah,
WWE match, and basically
that's
we're getting
right.
stomped on right as the movie started. It's like, doof, doof, and the dude's like kicking the camera.
That was
So
crazy.
yeah, that
We
was
were
kind
like,
of
what is happening right now?
yeah, kind of what started the whole thing.
Yes.
And basically it was one of the main characters. He was a like engineer, essentially working in like cybersecurity for a company, a private company, and
Mm-hmm.
in the process he had learned some things, and he stole evidence to release to the public.
Right.
And so that was where it started, because he was meeting some people there for a drop
To
off.
like drop
Yeah,
the fight or like
the
the
files. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So and we learned that character is like one of the main characters. He had like an incident where the aliens kind of like gave him a burst of knowledge.
Right. When he was a
um
child.
yeah, well, for him it was a little older. He was when he was like
Oh,
in his
okay.
teens or
In his
something, sometime
teens.
in
Okay.
school. He had like some incident, and then like was able to do all this math and stuff. And
Oh, that's right. He was like
yeah,
activated by the
yeah,
bird.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
he
he
was
was in
activated.
college. That's right.
Yeah. And then the main woman character, as we know, she had an incident where she was essentially abducted by aliens when
Right.
she was a child, and they did the same thing, essentially imbued all of this knowledge of the universe in her, that she was unaware of.
Right. And then when she was activated, just
Hmm.
like the guy, because they were both when they were kids, were like
Right.
not kidnapped, but like kind of kidnapped by the aliens. And then he was activated in
Hmm.
college, and then she got activated in
Yeah,
her like
like an
30s or
adult.
40s
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. And then
Um,
yeah, then they had all this knowledge from the aliens.
Exactly, yeah. But the baseline is essentially like humans have come into contact with aliens. These alien ships started being seen by humans. Humans started tracking them. They saw the ships on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
The aliens crash landed in some cases, and also were meeting with like representatives from Earth, all unbeknownst to like the public.
Anybody,
Yeah,
literally.
nobody knew. And it was a private company doing it, because essentially they wanted it to be outside of the government's confines,
Right.
because they didn't want politicians getting
Right,
involved.
because there
And
was like that whole incident with Reagan or something that they
right,
showed towards the end of the movie,
yeah,
which is why they ended up going private in the first place because they
exactly.
would didn't want anybody to be spilling
Yeah, they didn't want
secrets.
to be disclosing it to too many
Right.
people, especially when politicians were like coming in and out of office.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought that element of it was very real. I think,
Right.
if you think about modern times, for example, just to draw a immediate parallel, there have been claims for hundreds of years about aliens,
Yeah.
even thousands of years if we look at like the artifacts left behind by ancient cultures.
True.
But on top of that, like there's all of these files that our government has released about these vehicles and alien encounters and all this stuff. So in the exact same manner that the movie covered, our government has also done the exact same thing, right?
Yeah,
Like
because I liked what you had said that it felt more like a documentary
yeah,
almost than like a fictional movie.
yeah, Disclosure Day is low key a documentary. I'll just go ahead and put that out there. It is low key a documentary. It feels exactly like what governments would do if they came in contact with aliens. We would
100%.
be running tests on them, torturing them, seeing what their bodily limits are. I mean, scientists, if you think about like Japanese and German scientists during World War II, they did the exact same thing to humans.
Mm,
So
mm.
now imagine what humans would do to another species of thing
I
that
mean, look
came.
at what humans do to
Animals,
animals.
yeah, exactly. Chemical testing, testing
Yeah,
for products. It's insane. So
it's
yeah,
inhumane.
yeah.
So
And so
yeah,
we were drawing a
we
lot of parallels,
know.
which is why when we were sitting in the theater, we were looking at each other like, is this real? Like, are they trying to tell us something? Because it felt like that. It
Yes, it
felt like that. It
did.
felt like Steven Spielberg was trying to tell us that humans have aliens. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing bad things with them, trying to make advancements out of their technology
Yeah,
and not treating them
experimenting on
properly.
them and
Yeah,
yeah, like not using anesthesia because that was in one of those like
exactly.
videos that he was
Yeah,
releasing
which
as
was
well.
crazy, which is so ironic because humans in our portrayal of aliens, it's typically like the aliens are the bad guys. They're the ones probing, they're the ones
Right.
that want to do experiments on humans and stuff. But in this film, it was literally the opposite. The aliens were an empathetic, educated species of beings that were massively in tune with the universe and the energy of the universe. And
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to share that knowledge with humans. And humans instead were probing them, torturing them,
Yep.
tearing their bodies apart, trying to figure out their anatomy and stuff like that.
Oh
And I think
God.
it just really highlighted, I think, humans. Like
Yeah,
it did a good
100%.
job of
Showing
showing.
human behavior and
Yeah.
like the instinctual whatever like
Yeah.
first thought that humans have is like how can we dissect this being and
Right.
see how the insides work and
Yeah.
everything,
And
but
it's
like
just,
why?
yeah, it's so
So
gross.
weird.
And the whole message from the aliens was empathy. So at a part in
Yes.
the film, the main character, as she had been awoken, they were in a dangerous situation because, of course, this company, they had hired private security to try and
Mm-hmm.
chase them down and track them down, and all of those sorts of things. So she essentially, people that were seeing her, they were seeing a loved one in their
Yes.
family or in their life. They were seeing someone else when they looked at her. And then she was then talking about problems or whatever was going on with that person as it related to that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
And it essentially caused the person to completely lower the defense, right? You didn't want to attack or shoot your wife or your
Mom or
grandpa or
your
your
grand,
mom. Yeah.
yeah.
And so it just highlighted like empathy, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
whole point is don't do things onto other people, because imagine if those people were doing those same things to yourself or a loved one.
Yeah.
It's like the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right. How has
um
that fallen so far?
I don't know. That used to be the golden rule of humanity at one point,
Right.
and then we've strayed away from it so vastly. But that was what the aliens were trying to teach. That was the
Mm-hmm.
language of the universe: empathy.
Yes, empathy. I think
Yeah,
that's like such a great message because to your
yeah,
point, like
yeah.
it really does feel like what's going on right now.
Hmm.
There's so much like war and death and destruction and
Yeah,
there's just not enough, and I mean empathy is being villainized.
I know, which is
So it's
insane.
like
It's so crazy.
yeah, so I
And
think that really just is like trying to even push a message to
yeah,
people like
and
please.
it was like the timing of the disclosure day as well. It was like the world was on the verge of World War III.
Mhm.
Essentially, like they had highlighted different things in the film where like they had been in a grocery store, and in the grocery store or whatever, people were like clearing the shelves as if like a huge disaster was
Filling
going to
gas
happen.
tanks
Yep. And at
and
the gas station, there were long lines and people were filling up their gas tanks,
mhm.
filling up extra canisters. And in the news on the background, you heard them talking about World War III and all
Yeah,
of these things building up. And like you said, it feels exactly how life on Earth feels for a lot of us. It's like all of
truly.
these conflicts, all of these weapons, all of these weapons of mass destruction, all of these things. And it's like most of us are just powerless. Like we're just trying to pay our
Yeah,
bills and, enjoy our lives that we have. And it feels like a small group of people is making the decisions for all of us.
100%. It's just like created such an individualistic society
100%.
and that really does go to show how far empathy has just like fallen out because
Yeah.
when you're so focused on
Hmm.
grinding and paying your own bills and putting food
Yeah.
on your own table, you can't really be worried about other people having to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely not. And I think that that is like the core message of this Steven Spielberg film, and I think
Yes.
he did like a really good job of exemplifying how important it is. But there are a couple things that we. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a question, and not
Mm-hmm.
to pivot
Yeah,
topics.
that's all good.
How did you feel about the religious aspect
Wow, I
of the
was just
movie?
about to say that. I thought the way that he highlighted it was brilliant, right? Like you had the woman who was like the girlfriend of the guy who was trying to release the secrets. And she essentially is like telling him, no, you can't do that. People need God. We need a belief system. Like you can't tell the people about aliens. There's no way they'll react normal to this or like calmly or whatever, because God is the centerpiece of humanity and blah, 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 all these things. And essentially the guy looked at her like she was insane.
Yeah,
And we did as well. What are you
crazy.
talking about?
We were not expecting that at all. We were like, what?
Yeah, and it definitely highlights how in society, like, and again, Steven Spielberg, I got to give him credit for like the way he highlighted these things, because it
Yes.
highlights how people weaponize their belief systems. It highlighted how
Hmm.
she was willing to keep information, just like the private $1 billion company that was torturing the aliens. Think about that. The religious woman was on the side of the company torturing aliens and profiting off of the information.
Yeah.
She was on that side, the religious woman, because she thought that humanity couldn't handle this sort of information.
Come on, girl.
Please put your small minded religionness to the side and do not think that you make decisions for the rest of humanity. It is
Please.
insanity that people are still in this big 2026 feeding into these I don't even know what to call them. Just farce belief
Yeah.
systems. When we have human beings that are in need of love, in need of affection, in need of empathy right now, and what are these institutions doing to address those issues in humanity?
Quite literally nothing.
Nothing. So yeah, I thought it was fantastic the way he exemplified that, and then the way she was like looking at the book bag right in front of the guy. So he had to take his book bag with him because
Mm-hmm.
he essentially
Good
was
thing
like,
he did
she was
too.
willing to keep the rest of humanity in the dark solely to uphold her belief system.
Which is
That
just
is
crazy.
crazy
So
and so
diabolical.
dangerous.
So
Um,
dangerous.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, so I think he did a good job with that, and I really think that the nun at the end that Steven Spielberg utilized, she had the most fantastic point. It is
Yes.
okay to have your belief system, but understand that it is referencing a small portion of whatever you believe in, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't apply to the grander universe, which we know has life in it. So,
Right. Yeah, because
um,
there was like a Bible verse that she
yeah, it was
recited.
Genesis.
Yeah, and
Um,
then she like left off the part where it said on earth,
yep,
you
yep.
know. So,
So yeah, 100%. So she essentially opened this other person's eyes to like the factual nature of the scripture, because again, it's just like people read a little line, don't finish the sentence, but they formulate a belief off of what they've just read, and it's just
right.
like that's not what that's put there for in the first
No.
place. So yeah, I think to answer your question, I think he did a really good job of explaining, highlighting the dangers of kind of like blind belief,
Mm-hmm.
and also like how that sort of blind belief system can be dangerous for humanity as a whole.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I fully agree. I feel like
yeah.
he did a really good job. I was definitely worried at first
Hmm.
because I was like, is he for real?
Yeah,
Is she for real? Are
yeah. It was
we
like
being serious right now
yeah,
or is this a joke?
yeah, for
Stay
real.
psych right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
so yeah, I definitely am glad that it kind of went full circle almost.
yeah,
And like she had to talk to the older nun who was
yeah.
like, well, you know, you've lost faith in
Humanity,
humanity,
yeah.
not in the church, because she was
Yeah,
trying to
she
be a
said you
nun.
didn't lose your faith in God, you lost your faith in humanity.
Yeah, so definitely
And that
appreciated
that's
that.
just speaks volumes to, I think, like humans right now. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
this, I mean, months ago when we were talking about like pillars of human belief,
Yeah,
and it's like the fact that humans aren't like obsessed with our own existence is crazy to me. Like the
facts.
fact that we have evolved and appeared on this spinning rock in the middle of space, it's something that we should take very seriously. and
True.
maintaining our species and making sure our species has longevity. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, humans are very short-sighted. So
That's
yeah,
true.
it's just sad.
Yeah,
But
very
if we took
sad.
care of each other, I mean,
We could be
we
doing
could have our species
crazy
going for a
things.
million years. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like
Yeah.
that's the difference. Is
But it's
that
all, oh, this is a secret. Oh, we can't share this. Oh, we don't
exactly?
like you. Like,
Yeah, and it's just like human
what?
beings are entitled to know their history, entitled to know the history of Earth, entitled to know what interaction we've had with extraterrestrials. Like that's
Facts.
information that we should have, because if there are lessons to be learned from that information, we should learn them. We should be given the opportunity to absorb that information. I don't want anybody making that decision for me that I or anybody else can't handle the truth,
Come
because
on.
who are you to decide that? You're
Facts.
just a normal person too.
I know,
So
yeah, and just like people love that like power aspect that
yeah,
they can hold over other people, just like, oh, I know
exactly.
something
Because
that you
that's
don't.
yeah, which is why they say like the knowledge is power. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally that. It's like they know if they can keep people like dumb and uneducated, that people won't ask those questions.
Very true.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. Like the whole premise of like empathy being the universal language,
Yeah.
and how understanding and connecting with others is massively important. But now I think it's important that we chat about some of the things in the movie we didn't like, because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like a 10/10 film,
Right.
because
Yeah.
of some of these little plot holes that we found. So
Yeah. So
why don't we
why don't
all
you
right.
kick us off? Why don't you
All
kick us
right.
off?
My first plot hole that I didn't like was the using of the alien mechanism, the little device they had, the little
Oh,
long thing. I didn't
yes.
like how they were using that as like a teleportatory spy lens, like
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things. Like,
Yeah, that was kind of
guys,
weird.
what? That was just the most ridiculous plot armor in the world. Essentially, the main bad guy, the antagonist, is able to use some of the alien technology to just go and spy on where the protagonists are.
Yeah, he like
Um,
holds it and then has to like look at a picture and then somehow he
yeah,
like switches minds or does
yeah, and
something.
was like remote controlling people's bodies from a distance using the alien technology.
Yeah. So
I
that was
I
kind of
personally I
weird.
thought that was weak. I just didn't really think that really fit in the film that much. I didn't think it
Yeah,
made
because we didn't
sense
see
with.
the aliens do anything with their
I
technology. We
know,
saw
yeah,
nothing
nothing.
about their
All they did,
technology, and it was all of a sudden
no,
reverse engineered. And I'm like,
right.
why
And I
did they
mean,
do
like
that?
the one guy, who was on the protagonist side, he did say to the antagonist, like, "You're not even using this thing to half its potential or whatever." And I
Mm,
do appreciate that they acknowledge that, but I
yeah.
still just feel like he was using the spy thing. One of the times he spied, he took over the woman's body. They knew that he could remotely control her, and they tied her arms up, and somehow she was still able to kick over a piece of
Why didn't
paper
we tie her
and
feet?
look at the
I
piece
was
of paper and
thinking,
get an address.
yeah, like
Come on,
see where they
Steven.
were. Yeah, I know. Yeah, some of the things.
That
Because,
was
yeah, the
weak.
whole, they had her hands tied up and they were dramatically zooming out. And I was like, her feet are surely going to be tied up too.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
just
her feet
like
weren't. And I was
have
like,
them. It's a
come on.
multi-billion-dollar company, right? Steven Spielberg. So it's just like they could have used satellite imagery to track them. They could have used the cell phone to triangulate them. Could have tracked the vehicle they were in to triangulate them. Could have looked into the other people who didn't show up for work at the company, right? Like those were all other avenues they could have
I
gone
know they
to
didn't
find
address that at all.
until he saw them. Like it wasn't until he saw them when he was remote viewing later on that he then was like, "Oh, let's look up those people." But
Oh,
it's just like,
that's what
why didn't
happened.
you guys do
Okay.
that way
I missed
earlier?
that.
So yeah, I just felt like that was a little bit lazy. There were so many other ways that this multi-billion-dollar company could have operated to triangulate their location to make that interesting,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
true.
using this remote viewing thing to give them the location, I thought that was a bit lazy.
Yeah, agreed.
I also just feel like the whole like girlfriend element, like you got dropped off at the nuns, and then you decided you wanted to be involved, and then the second day after deciding you wanted to be involved, you're ready to stop your boyfriend from informing humanity. Why did you join the journey?
I know.
Why did you join us? She did nothing, added nothing. And the main protagonist, he was told not to bring her. So
Yeah.
follow
So,
directions, bro. You've got a backpack full of government secrets and you thought it was a good couples retreat? Ridiculous.
Crazy.
Keep her out of it.
And then she immediately
Switched up.
switched up
She not
and
only told him he shouldn't do it and wanted to delete the stuff herself, but then she became the victim of the remote
compromised the
viewing.
whole
So
mission.
then they used her to get to the
Yeah.
guy. Why did you
Easiest
join
plotline in the
us?
book.
Yeah, it's just like that was just
Always
crazy.
use like the
The
girlfriend or
damsel
the
in
kids
distress.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So didn't enjoy that at
Yeah.
all. Let's see what else. I thought the way they did like the main protagonist, the woman, I love how they did her thing. Like she wasn't really aware
I was
of
just
what
about
was
to ask you
happening.
about how,
Yeah.
like, because we had talked about the whole passenger aspect.
Yeah.
Is that what you were about to get into?
No.
Okay.
But that's a good thing to talk about.
Okay.
Wow. What about the
Oh,
passenger?
no, I was about to ask you about what you
Mhm.
were saying about it because you were talking about
right.
it. Like, how you were
Because
feeling about the whole, like, I feel like I'm a passenger, like, I'm
right.
getting these signals or
Right.
something. Like,
Because what was happening was essentially like she got pulled over, for example. She was on the way to her weather station to do her
mhm.
weather report. She got pulled over and the cop started talking to her, was being kind of an asshole. And then she essentially goes, you know, your wife doesn't mean it. You know, like you guys, you need to help her out more with blah, blah, blah. And
Getting
take
the
her out.
flowers is a great idea.
Yeah,
Like,
she
and
like
then was
helps him with all this stuff and he's like
yes.
stunned. He like doesn't even know how to respond to her. And then she like takes her stuff back and drives off.
She's
So
like, "Can I go now?"
yeah, so essentially she can speak any language. There was a Korean guy at the TV
Mhm.
station. He was frustrated, had something going on. She was able to translate and have a conversation with him. So
Yeah.
she is like very enlightened, very tuned in. She's spiritually awakened at this point. She has the empathy to be able to connect with anybody and
Mhm.
talk to them about what's going on in their life and help them resolve that issue.
Yes.
So she doesn't really realize what's happening though. So people are like, "Did you realize? I didn't realize you spoke whatever." And she's like, "I don't. What are you talking
What do you
about?"
mean? Yeah.
She's like confused about it. But essentially as it continues on and she becomes aware of it, she starts saying that like, yeah, like Sid said, she started feeling like she was a passenger to this knowledge she had. Feeling like it was just like flowing through her and she was just like the vessel.
Mhm.
And then she compared it, she was trying to explain it to her boyfriend, and essentially compared it to like when he gets in the flow state because he was a
That's
musician.
right.
So she was like, when you're
Yes.
on the guitar and you get into a flow state when you're making music, that's similar to what's happening to me right now. I'm just like getting into a flow state and I don't really have any influence in what's happening in this flow state.
Right.
It's just happening. And I really liked that
Mhm.
concept. So I feel like, you know, sometimes if you think about, you know, you get like a great idea and it just like comes to you out of nowhere and you're like, oh, you know, you didn't think of it prior. It just came to your head. So it's like the idea was like passing through you. You were like the vessel of the idea. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I really liked that concept because I feel like it
Yes.
does apply to humans nowadays. It's like, are we local, or is our consciousness local, or is our consciousness elsewhere? Because where is that signal coming from? Where is our brain receiving that signal that becomes the idea in our head, or
Right.
becomes that flow state if you're a musician, or becomes that flow state if you're an athlete? Like, where does that spark come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't
Truly.
know. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a cool concept, like the whole like the knowledge and stuff just passing through.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that. I also think that's a super cool concept, and I love
Mhm.
how you kind of like compared that even to your own experiences as well.
Yeah,
I
just like sometimes I just like don't know where an idea comes from. Like,
mhm.
yeah. So it
And
definitely
your
happens.
music and everything too.
Yeah,
I just feel
yeah.
like yeah, that flow state and just like
Stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
how I always wonder how do you do that?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen
Um
for me, but I just think that's so cool and like
Thank you.
yeah, to your point,
Yeah.
where
Where does it come
do
from?
the
Is it
signals come
local?
from?
Yeah, so interesting. But I guess another thing just to chat about, not to change the subject completely,
Please,
but
please.
something I was kind of longing for in the movie was a little bit more of like the aliens, right? Like I didn't really
Yes.
understand why the aliens were disguising themselves
I
as
was gonna
animals. Yeah, like
yes.
I guess
That's
like someone said
crazy.
at one point in the movie it was so that they were more acceptable for humans, essentially so humans would treat them better
Yeah,
because
so
humans
like
were known to
they
be
weren't
torturing them.
right, and because humans like with their original form, just based on movies and media and things, humans would
Hmm.
like be scared
right.
of their bodies or
Yeah, so
whatever.
they were trying to essentially soften it up by appearing as like animals and things instead of
Yeah.
appearing as like
It
aliens.
was,
And you had a
yeah.
good point about the cardinal, because is that like a little
Okay, right, because I was wondering about that. I was like, are all of the animals that they're interacting with, like all of them were the
alien?
aliens,
Yeah,
or
right.
like is
A
it some sort of like a
couple like
projection
right.
or like
Yeah, just it wasn't really super clear, but I think they
yeah,
were individuals, because when they showed the flashback of when the little girl, when they were walking with the little
the
girl, they showed the
snow,
feet
the
tracks in the snow.
footsteps.
Yeah, so
Yes.
um yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
just I just wanted
interesting.
to see like more of them. Like it
Me
would have been
too.
cool to get a little bit more of like the alien perspective. Like why did their civilization keep sending emissaries if they were disappearing or not coming back or
Right.
crash landing? Like why didn't the aliens just land over a big city and start teaching about empathy in the middle of New
I
York City? You
know.
know,
Why
like
is it always like down to the government and
yeah, I
like
just don't
them
really
always
understand
finding the
that. Because
aliens?
I just feel like if aliens were smart enough to get to our planet, right? They are smart enough to travel through space and get to our planet. They would obviously observe us for a while. They
Mm-hmm.
would then obviously see and be smart enough to know that our society is controlled by a select few people and that the masses don't actually have power. It would
Right.
take like 1 day of observing humanity to understand that. Literally 98% of us go to work and like 10 people sit on a yacht all day. There's a very stark difference between the levels of humanity, right?
True.
So if I were an alien species coming to Earth, wouldn't you want to make the biggest, loudest entrance possible to get everyone's attention so that all humans would adhere to your message quicker? You know,
Yes.
like it just seems like a bit silly that you would operate with these corrupt government agencies.
Yeah, it does seem so
Yeah,
weird.
especially when the aliens were like trying to teach about empathy and understanding and the language of the universe. Like
Right.
that should be something that's for everybody, not just government people.
I
So that
know.
element, I was just like, dang, are these aliens smart? Or are they kind of dumb?
Right.
Because why would you be trying to? You're meeting with Reagan to try
I
and
know.
talk about empathy. Reagan. I mean, yeah. So just like some of those parts, I was just like,
Yeah,
Spielberg,
a
you
little.
miss with this, bah. You miss with
Yeah,
this
I
one,
know
man.
because then like the whole staging area, the house thing,
What was
like
that
why were they
about?
building that?
Yeah, they built like a whole staging room so that I don't remember what her name was in the movie, but the main
Yeah.
protagonist, she essentially was the one like as a kid, whatever, and they rebuilt her like childhood home to a T in order
Yeah.
to like trigger the memory for her so that she could understand what happened to her. I just don't understand how that was normal.
I
Like
know.
they started talking to her and she started recapping the night very quickly. And most of the night was spent in the woods walking with an alien. So did the house really bring back the memory?
Right.
I don't know. That just seems so extra. And you had so many people working on that project. They could have been helping grow
I
in the field.
know. Dang.
So
Come
yeah, that was a
on.
little
Yeah,
crazy.
that was a little crazy.
I was also a little bit confused about the whole like releasing of the files. Like I understand they wanted it to be a big disclosure day where everything was done like succinct and explained in detail and stuff like that. But again, I guarantee if Broski would have uploaded those files on Reddit, the Reddit people would have had those things dissected, authentic what's the word?
Authenticated.
Authenticated and all this stuff by midday. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like we know that there are people on the internet who there are hackers, there are things, people who want to see information, they want to get
Yeah.
information, people love conspiracy theories. Like I
Facts.
think that holding on to the information and not releasing it prior was massively risky. They
True.
were risking the entire enlightenment of the human species on a book bag full of files, and when bro could have uploaded it as soon as he left the building.
I
Like
know.
I didn't think it needed to be a big dramatic release day. Like you
Yeah.
could have still had the disclosure day later at a later date.
Right. And I also just feel like with these movies, there's always like a big, like, disclosure in this case.
Yeah.
And then we never get to see how humanity actually changes. Because for
Facts.
me, I feel like this would happen and then everyone would still go to work.
valid.
I just feel like what would
Yeah.
this really
Well, it
do?
was
And they never really
interesting.
talk about
Yeah,
how the world
they
actually
didn't. No,
changes.
they did not explain anything. Like they didn't explain the outcome at all. And also, where did that giant alien come from at the end? Like
Yeah,
literally, all the ones we saw
I
the pictures of were like this tall, and
so
then the
little.
one that showed up on the end for TV was like 8 feet tall.
I
So
know.
that was confusing. I don't know if that was supposed to be the queen or the
Or
king or
like that's what they
whatever.
look like when they get really
Fully
old
grown, yeah, I
or
don't know. But yeah, to your point about it being like kind of like a big climax. It's just
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I don't
lost my
know.
train of
Yeah. Oh,
thought.
sorry.
No, no, no. I was trying to respond to your
Okay.
thing, but
Oh,
I lost
wow.
my lost what I was trying to say with it.
um
But that was a bit of like unanswered questions and just like why are we doing this
yeah.
big whole spiel? But yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what else we haven't chatted about. I
I
mean, yeah,
know.
just risking it all with the book bag was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the action elements. I mean, the action was okay. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like for me it felt like there was a lot of like build up, build up, build up and not a lot
yeah,
of like
outcome.
yeah.
Yeah, because what I wanted to say was that when the message was going out, they did highlight like all of humanity like staring at their phones, which was also super accurate because
Yeah,
everybody is addicted to their phones and stares at their phones like 90%
definitely.
of the day. But yeah, they also showed like the soldiers who were going to the war front, which had been mentioned on the news, which was being mentioned on the news right
Mhm.
before the disclosure happened. All of them were also on the phones and stuff. So I'm not sure if what he was trying to get at with that was that people were going to be so distracted and learn from this message to the point where it stopped the conflict, or
Right.
to your point, was it not even going to matter and was everything just going to come to the end anyway? Like we just
Right.
didn't get any further like
Yeah, because I feel like, you know, we see it with the military right now. It's
mm,
all taking orders and being loyal and doing all those things. So
mm-hmm.
if the people in the all powerful governments who didn't want this to be released say go drop the bomb, they're probably gonna go drop the bomb.
Yeah, that's honestly a really good point.
But
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the only thing that we could have potentially hoped is that whatever that giant alien said to her at the end, or to the guy at the end, which then he told her, which also
right,
didn't make sense.
yeah,
Why didn't
because
she
she
just
can
tell
just
direct?
yeah,
But
whatever.
that was a whole thing. We don't know what was said in that message. We don't know how it like what the conclusion was. I'm sure
Right.
someone online has some theory
Some
for it.
theory, yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was like interesting. Like yeah, I wish we could have gotten like a conclusion to the story instead of
Yeah.
also being left on like the cliffhanger. Because to
Right.
your point, we had built up so much about the disclosure day just to not even find out the outcome of the disclosure
Right.
day.
I just feel like, yeah,
That was
I
pretty
would love
frustrating.
to see that. Make the movie
Yeah.
30 minutes longer and tell me how humanity changed.
Right. Yeah. If they
Because
changed, right.
if something like that happened here right now, we'd have no
I ain't going to work. Let me tell you
well,
something. Let
yeah.
me see one of those alien ships flying above my city. I ain't working. Deal. But yeah, so I, but I do think overall it
Yeah,
was a strong movie.
definitely.
Um, very much worth the watch. I think they touched on a lot of good things. It almost, like I said, the documentary was almost kind of giving me like Don't Look Up vibes. Like they
Yes,
are
I was
drawing a
thinking
lot
about
of
that too.
parallels between the world we're living in right now and the movie. But you can really like draw a lot of these parallels and be like, our government would do that. Oh, a company
Mm-hmm.
would do that. A
Mm-hmm.
company would be trying to reverse engineer alien technology in order to advance
Definitely.
their own interests and profit off of it. I mean, we see that every day. So if you go and watch this movie, when you go and watch it, I highly recommend like paying attention to some of those parallels that Steven Spielberg was trying to make sure that we saw, because he was
Yes.
definitely drawing them to bring attention, almost like shine light on areas of our own society that are weak
Yeah,
in reality.
definitely.
Um,
There's a bunch of them.
yeah,
So,
for sure. But yeah, I think empathy is king. Empathy is the language of the universe. I don't know what
queen.
information. Yeah, I don't know what information Spielberg has. Multimillionaires also have a little bit more information than the rest of us, so he might be giving us a little bit of an enlightened perspective on
True.
what's necessary of humanity. Because if humans acted with the amount of empathy we needed to the point where every human life was valued equally and the loss of every human life mattered deeply to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you our species would be miles ahead, like light years ahead of where we are now.
Definitely.
Like there's just no reason on our planet that people should be going hungry, children going hungry, children without shelter, all this war, all this nonsense, when human beings connect with each other on a personable level, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when we're face to face all the time. But it just seems like we've, as a species, moved away from that. And I hope that, you know, art, hopefully life imitates art in the sense of humanity slowly pushing towards a more empathetic baseline.
Yes.
Because I think that's what the theory of this movie was.
I agree. Yeah, I mean that's literally that was the whole message from the aliens.
Yeah.
So hopefully that does kind of spark some thoughts in a lot of people.
Yeah, and if Steven Spielberg, if you're aware of some language of the universe, my brother, you know what I'm saying, send us a script. We'd love to see it. We love to see what you know about, what you could
Truly.
kind of talk about, but couldn't get too much into depth with before people started.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hypothetically.
Because we know that's how our society is. Again, it's like people can't openly share knowledge they have because when they do, they get got for it. So naturally people can only put little snippets of information in art and in media to kind of trickle into the information so that those people that are in power don't come for their lives. And that's crazy that our society is like that.
So many
like
scientists.
Yeah, so many scientists. And it's like, yeah, we should have open knowledge sharing like throughout our entire civilization.
Well, I feel like that would inevitably destroy the capitalistic society they love so much, because with like open sharing of information, there would also be so much more innovation.
Yep.
So
as soon as you take away things that are for profit, so many more systems start to actually benefit the masses. But that's a topic for another day. But I think Steven Spielberg was onto it, and I think that Disclosure Day did a great job of highlighting those things and also highlighting a lot of the weaknesses within human society, because we are massively lacking empathy.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't take you needing to see your own family member in that position to make you feel sorry for someone else or make you want that person to have a program that supports them. You know what I mean? You should already look at that person as a human being and say, wow, you're struggling. I want to help you, or I'm okay with my tax dollars helping you because I see you as a human being. So like that is like baseline empathy that, you know, humans need to get to really progress our species, because it shouldn't have to be someone that's close to you for you to care.
True.
That's kind of
the whole message.
That's the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So yeah, I think Disclosure Day, I'm gonna give it a little rating. I'm gonna give it a smooth 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Actually, max that. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Reason 8 out of 10 is just because I love the overarching message.
Yeah.
I think the message was fantastic.
Love.
I wish I would have gotten some more alien screen time, but the message itself was fantastic. So what about you?
Agree. Yeah, I mean, I was going between 7.5, 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like similar. There was a lot of kind of suspense, but not a lot of like come to fruition moments.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I feel like there was a lot open to our interpretation as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say 7.5, 8. Somewhere right in there.
Definitely. There was definitely like some flow that could have been better, and a little bit of like, you know, plot holes that didn't really make sense that we were kind of bumping on. But other than that, I think like, again, the message of the movie, love the involvement of the aliens, love the message of the aliens, love how it really highlighted human nature and what we would do with aliens if we knew about them, had them, or experienced them before. And yeah, I think overall it was worth the watch. It was a great film.
Yeah, so, honestly, I would recommend it.
Yeah, so those were our thoughts on Steven Spielberg's new film, Disclosure Day, out in theaters now. We saw it, we enjoyed it, and we recommend the watch.
Definitely, yeah. So if you made it this far,
thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.